Okay, so this is not what was streamed yesterday. This is a recording the day after. Um, Yesterday, I managed to do an entire live stream for an hour without hitting start on the button on my OBS instance that starts the stream. So this is an attempt to recap what I completed yesterday. So that there is a video for YouTube, so that folks who are following along can follow what I did yesterday. And this will be a lot shorter than an hour, but it will at least cover everything that I did yesterday. I'm going to preface this by saying that I blame myself, but also a combination of, you might hear that I'm a bit nasally, I'm recovering from a bit of a cold, and some new hardware that I'd purchased for my setup. I'd recently purchased a new hub for my laptop, so my audio settings were out of whack. So I realized this 10 minutes before the stream started. So I was busy fixing those things literally before the stream started, and I think that's why I got all confused as to why I was recording or not. So if you missed the stream yesterday because you got there and nothing was happening, I sincerely apologize. But hopefully this video will cover at least what I did. I didn't do a lot of development yesterday. It was a lot more setup and configuration type things. But mostly what I did, and I'm just going to go through the commits just to look at the changes. I updated the requires version. So Carolina had logged an issue that the theme needed to be updated to require at least 6.2. Which I then fixed in the style.css file. 6.2 requires up to at least 6.2. And the README tested up, no, it requires up to 6.2. So I did that first and committed that code. And then what did I do next? Then I looked at the heading fonts. I looked at updating the heading fonts. But before I did that, what I did was I wanted to have a look at the style book that comes with 6.2, WordPress 6.2. So I did a searching on the style book to figure out where to find it, because it wasn't obvious to me where it was. And I don't think I found it here. Oh, the style book can be accessed via the IR code in the styles header. So then I went and I edited I went into the site editor and I clicked on styles and I clicked on the IR icon, and that gave me the style book. So I looked at that and I realized that there are the headings, and I can click through and change the heading, but I can't change the different heading levels here, which was interesting. I would have thought that might have been possible. So I just kind of fiddled around with this for a bit and then decided, okay, this isn't going to work for me. So then I went back to the standard styles, into typography, into the headings area in typography, and I started changing all of these settings here. So to do that, I went to the styles section that Emily had set up for me, and I went and started applying basically all of these settings here on this page. So heading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I kind of got stuck because I noticed that so I applied the font to all headings with an appearance of default and a line height of 1.1. And then when I switch to H1, for example, I'm going to switch to H6 to show you what that looks like. I got confused by the fact that this is a placeholder text, and I thought it was picking it up from the all setting. And I would have thought actually that when I set this to 1.1, it would then make all of these 1.1. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong there. But anyway. And then the other thing I kind of dived into was the fact that when setting the header text, in the appearance list, all of the different options for this font are available. or at least maybe all of the different options for any font are available. So default, thin, extra light, light, regular, medium, etc., etc. But I only wanted, and I don't know if I'm right with this or not, I only wanted the ones that I thought I had imported, which was the regular, the light, the medium, the bold, and the black. So I tried setting, if I go back to my theme JSON, I tried setting a slug on the different sizes and try to figure out kind of how all this worked. And I still haven't sort of figured out and understood what's going on there. So what I have done is I actually have a P2 setup for this process of this sending theme project folder, if you will. And it's got two things that I've got a development note section. And I created, was it here? Yes. I created this note for myself to say, when adding custom fonts to a block theme, how do we limit the list of options in the appearance dropdown for typography? I'm not sure whether or not I should be able to limit this list. I will admit that I don't understand fonts that well. I usually just apply them to elements. So I want to do a little bit of research around that to understand how that works. I thought that it might be sitting in the theme.json file, the WordPress theme.json, which is sitting in WP includes theme.json. It's not. So I just want to understand how that works before I carry on. So that's just a little note that I've set for myself that I'm going to follow up on. Anyway, once I played around with that for a bit, then I just decided, okay, enough of this. And I just went ahead and I set the settings for each of the header elements. So I set H1 to, oh, that was the other thing I did. I did a little bit of research because it's not something that I know a lot about. So I did a little bit of research on the different unit font sizes in CSS. There's this great article on Freed Code Camp, which I recommend folks, if they're not sure how this works, go and have a read. It talks about the REM units and how it works, and it's all about, you know, relative to the root element. So I did a bit of research around that. It talks about the difference between REM and M, or EM, or however you pronounce it. So I did some reading around that just to kind of catch myself up to how that all works. And anyway, then I continued and I went ahead and I set all the header elements to the different settings that Emily had specified in the design. And then I used the good old create block theme, and I used the overwrite option to overwrite the changes. I still haven't figured out whether I'm going to create a CLI command for that or not, but that's effectively what I did there, which then gave me all of the heading typography settings in the styles. So it set up all this for me. I could have done this manually for sure, but it basically set all this up for me. Okay, so that was the first thing I did there. And then, let me just check my commits. Then I updated the text font. So that was really just a case of, again, going into typography, going to text, and setting the paragraph text based on the paragraph settings. It was around here that I kind of dove into, well, what is the core font set to? Which, as far as I could tell, it is set to 16 pixels, but I kind of need to verify that. But for now, I'm just leaving it as I'm going to make that assumption that it's set to 16 pixels. So in that case, and I kind of worked out that, let me do that quickly. So I said, well, if it is 16 pixels, what is 1.3 times 16 works out to 20.8, effectively 21. Effectively 21. So I went with it. So I've left it at that. And I set the paragraph line height to 1.6, which is specified there. And I saved and committed that change, again, using create block theme. And at that point, I was like, this is going to get boring. I need to automate this somehow. Maybe next week, maybe in the week. I don't know. So I did that. Then I moved down to the block quotes. And Emily's got two types of block quote. There's a left aligned pull quote and a centered quote. So I started creating issues for this. And when I did that, I realized that I can't copy this text out, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I thought maybe if I install Sketch, it'll work. So I went ahead and registered a Sketch account, and I eventually got Sketch installed. And now I can click on this Edit in Sketch link, which opens up Sketch, and seems to, okay, there we go. But now at least I can click on this element and I can grab this text out of this element if I need to. So this is a 30-day trial for Sketch. So I may or may not need to buy a license for this just to be able to carry on using it. We'll see how it goes. But that was kind of the other learning, was how does Sketch work? How do I use it on my Mac? That kind of thing. And that was kind of the rest of the hour. Just kind of figuring all this out. So that's as far as I got yesterday for the hour. It was very slow. I also mentioned that I am finding this process of working on this for an hour and then taking a week break, and then working on it for an hour and taking a week break. It's kind of counterintuitive, if you will, because normally you might sit down and work for, a 3-hour stretch, a 4-hour stretch with short breaks in between, but your brain is still in that mode. And I'm a little bit nervous or worried that that will become boring. If it's just, literally yesterday I did, if you look at how much code I committed, it was, 4 commits of very small bits of code. But that took me an hour. So anyway, it is what it is. It's the way streaming goes. I'm busy learning as I go. So I guess I just need to be less hard on myself and less stressed about it, and just do it and just see how it goes, and try and remember to hit record. That would be really good. So anyway, so that's what I did yesterday. I'm going to add this link to something somewhere. Just because I wanted, I don't know, I'll figure it out. But yeah, go and have a read. Just to search for what is REM in CSS on FreeCodeCamp, and that's the article that I used. So anyway, that's what I did yesterday for the hour that I then realized I hadn't recorded. So hopefully this is useful to you, and you'll at least have caught up with where I am. You're welcome to download the theme as it is from here and play with it. But that's where I'm at the moment. So thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the streams when I do remember to hit record. And I will see you next week.